Hey guys, Gyancelot again. This time with a review of the 144 scale high-grade Gundam Build Fighters Gyancelot from the Gundam Build Fighters Try Waifu Wars OVA series. So for the color scheme, here it is next to the original Gyan for comparison, and you can immediately tell that the Gyancelot is a lot lighter than the original Gyan. A lot more like a fantasy knight, I would say, because we have the original kind of grayish blue that has now become white, and even the regular dark blue has become slightly lighter on the Gyancelot. Then the red and the yellow used for the beam sword and the shield is pretty much the same on the Gyancelot, as you can see right here. And then the gray is, of course, also still the same. Then the one color the Gyancelot has that the regular Gyan does not have is gold. And, well, it's not the worst kind of gold we've ever gotten on a model kit, and I'm looking at the Hyakushiki with the Hyper Mega Launcher, but the problem here is that these two golds are supposed to be the same. And yeah, this is the only thing we get in actual plastic gold, all the rest are stickers. And these being the same, yeah, you're not really fooling anyone. So yeah. Let's quickly put this to the side. And the metal rivet here is a modification I quickly did myself. So moving on to stickers, we of course get a lot more than the regular Gyan. We still have the one sticker that goes onto the belly right there, the one for the mono eye, and then we get a lot of gold. We get the ones for the shoulders, we get these right here, one there on the feet, and also one that's supposed to go on here, but this is a seriously rounded surface, and I really felt that it would have looked a lot worse with the sticker rather than without it. So overall, I will say that the Gyancelot looks really good, really amazing. That fantasy knight vibe it's got going on looks really good. The stickers do an okay job, but it would have been really cool if this was a color similar to the stickers. Or maybe even if these had been parts, but you know, so be it. On to articulation. The head goes nicely up on a double joint, down like that, side to side until it hits the collar, about that far, and then forwards and backwards for some chicken movement. And the arms, they don't go up quite as much as on the original Gyan because, well, now we have those shoulder guards, and while they do hinge upwards, they don't do it enough to preserve the shoulder movement that the arms are capable of without these. Then they go forwards nicely on a hinge and on a ball joint, like that, and then backwards until they hit the backpack, and then they will also rotate around on that ball joint. Arms will rotate around below the shoulder, bend at the elbow for glorious two joints. And talking about glorious joints, this hand, the Gyan hand. It's of course, as all standard high-grade hands on a ball joint, but hinge down, hinge up. That hand is just amazing for this knightly mobile suit. Then at the waist, it has 3 points of articulation. We've got a ball joint at the top there, a ball joint at the bottom, so backwards it goes nicely like that. Now backwards we only have 2 joints, but if you're moving forwards, we still have those 2 ball joints, and click. When we pull the skirt up, we have an extra hinge right there, which is also to where this thing is connected, so it can go forwards really far, if you would want to. And this also means that the legs are going to have some seriously nice movement because, well, first of all, this thing moves out of the way. These move forward, not quite as much, but we still get surprisingly nice leg movement because, you know, with the way these move forwards, you wouldn't have guessed at all that the legs would be able to move forward that much. But hey, they do. Outwards, all the way as well. Really nicely articulated. Oh, and also, of course, we have side to side full rotation right there, and side to side jiggle movement on those ball joints. And when we look under the skirt some more, we will see the jiggle joint, which also has the action base butthole right there. Then the legs will rotate about that far, bend at the knee Once again, glorious 2 joints. Not quite all the way, but still plenty enough for some seriously good articulation. The feet go forwards a bit, not really too far because, well, we now have that extra piece, which, by the way, is connected to the foot and not to the leg as I thought it was going to be. Backwards quite nicely, side to side. Also nicely rotates around about all the way if you're careful. There we go. Then we have some extra forwards and backwards movement, and you can kind of force it out like that if you'd really want to. And finally, we also have the toe joint. Now, let's have a quick look at the backpack because it's also got quite some movement on there. Unfortunately, it's all plastic rubbing against plastic, and well, it's kind of showing on mine already. You might not be able to tell on camera because it's a bit dark, but it's already getting a stress mark right there and also one right there for the ball joint. So you do have some nice movement on that ball joint, but it's a very tight ball joint as well. So I don't recommend using that ball joint too much. And in fact, just moving it around right now, the most movement it's going to do is right there on this hinge, which just goes up and down. And then we have finally the fuel tank here, or at least what I'm assuming is a fuel tank, goes up and down. On to accessories, and like a lot of the Build Fighters model kits, this is where this model kit really shines. Starting off with the Gyancelot accessories, we get the spear. Really nice thing, except it's a bit on the hollow side on one side. The other side, just fine, but when we flip it around, hollow parts. Always a shame on a high-grade model. I guess Gyanco isn't the only one who had to lose some weight. Now, the cool thing about the spear is, this is a spear in its closed mode, but you can replace it with another tip, which forms what is essentially the Xeon symbol. A very fitting thing for the Gyancelot right here. And it fits into the hand absolutely perfectly. Not sliding down whatsoever. Even when you shake it, it holds very firmly. And in case anyone is wondering, you can hold it both on the back, like I have it right now, or in the front, because that is also thin enough, same size right here, so it's also going to be super secure in front. And posing with this spear is extremely fun, thanks to that glorious Gyan hand. It's just perfect. Then, of course, it's a knight. It could really do with a shield. The usual Gyan shield that we're getting. This is exactly the same as a shield, as a regular Gyan. Simply slides into the holding hand, clicks on like that, fits perfectly, no issues whatsoever. And of course, it transforms as well. You simply hinge it up, there we go, it slides out, slides down, and it's done. We don't get a lot of transforming shields, but this one does it absolutely perfectly. And then because it's of course the Gyancelot, the one big thing with it is the beam effect parts. I will say the cape, not a lot of detail on it, but overall it does add a nice effect to it. And well, being a knight and a cape fits perfectly with the theme. And then we of course get the plume, a beam plume. This is nicely detailed and looks fantastic on the machine. There we go, looking really good. So these are all the accessories the Gyancelot should have, but this thing being a remold of the Revive Gyan, we of course also get all of the parts from the Revive Gyan. Starting off with the beam sword. And you know, just because it already has a spear, doesn't mean it shouldn't still use this thing. And now it looks perfect for a Gundam Dynasty Warriors game. I mean, seriously, put this thing in the next one. So, for the rest of the stuff that we're getting, as I said, just everything to make yourself the Revive Gyan. The Gyan head, just in case you don't really like the helmet design. We get the original kneecaps, just in case you don't like the more armored ones. We get the regular feet, in case you don't like the high heel ones, which, to be honest, don't bother me nearly as much as I thought they would. We get the original chest. The back of the chest is still the same. And then we also get the original backpack, just in case you're not a huge fan of the beam cape it's got going on right now. So, like I said, all the pieces to make yourself the original Revive Gyan, just with a slightly more fancy knightly color, or you can turn it into something you own yourself, a completely new thing somewhere in between, just like, you know, what the message of Gundam Build Fighters is, kinda. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? Yes, the Gyancelot is badass. When I bought it, I thought like, yeah, I'll like this thing. It's going to be a good model kit. But as I started building it, I started to really love it. A lot of parts I was just very surprised by how the whole thing turned out. Like I said, the feet, the high heels, I thought those were going to be pretty nah. The head, I ended up liking it a lot more. The cape adds a really cool touch. You know, the gold, even though there's stickers, and this gold here is pretty yeah, it overall adds to a really good looking machine. And I think it's also especially the white that really hit me as like the perfect color for this machine. Now there is one kind of paradoxical situation here. Technically speaking, the original Gyan, well the original Revive Gyan of course, is superior to the Gyancelot. Because, well, it doesn't require nearly as much stickers, somewhat better articulation. So, yeah. But if I had to recommend one of these, I would definitely say go for the Gyancelot. Yes, it's more expensive at 1,800 yen versus 1,200 yen for the original Revive Gyan here. You know, kind of significantly more expensive, 50% more expensive. But we do get a lot more stuff with the Gyancelot. Especially if you're into customization and, you know, you really like to make things your own. The Gyancelot is an amazing machine. Also, it's slightly taller than the regular Gyan, making it a bit more impressive on the shelf. After that, the beam effect parts. And this is quite of an attention grabber. And, you know, I guess the gold stickers kind of help it as well. So, overall, the Gyancelot I can highly recommend to anyone who's into, like, more knightly mobile suits. Or like more close combat machines, or you're just looking for a slightly more ornate mobile suit, like not quite the standard military machine. It could be very surprising. Even if you're not really into the Gyan, this is one of those machines that if you buy it, just the model kit can definitely make you love this thing. Or at the very least, like it. So for size comparisons, first of all, here it is next to the original Gyan and the Gyan Cannon. And well, it seems like there really is no more reason whatsoever to still get the original Gyan. I mean, there's the Revive Gyan, there's the Gyancelot, and if you want to build yourself a Gyan Cannon, well, it fits just fine on the Revive Gyan. And, you know, the Gyancelot might be an even better candidate because, well, these shoulders are very much like the shoulders on the Gyan Cannon, just slightly more ornate. So maybe you can make yourself a more ornate version of the Gyan Cannon by getting this thing. And you know, it's slightly more armored, like on the legs, and slightly more armored chest. It might even look better on the Gyancelot. I mean, even the head is more armored, which is something you'd want from an artillery machine. Ideas. Then here it is next to the Gyan and the Revive Gyan. And now, having had a look at all of my Gyans, there's no doubt in my mind that the Gyancelot, at least for the moment, is my absolute favorite Gyan design. I say for the moment because, hey, maybe we get another scene of Gundam Build Fighters try, and then Gyanku will get another Gyan-like machine, and I'll probably like that one as well. Also, something I gotta say is I have way more Gyans right now than I thought I ever would. I mean, I don't even particularly like the original design of the original Gyan, but, you know, looking at these new model kits, and, well, combined with my love for the Giran's Greed games, my love for the Gyan has definitely increased these past few months. Well, That just leaves us with the standard size Gym Custom and the always bulky Zaku 3. And what do you know? It's bigger than the Zaku 3. And with the cape and with those shoulders, it's a pretty damn good match for the bulkiness of the Zaku 3. Or well, at least like the shelf presence it has, because you know it exerts that sideways pressure that the Zaku 3 also has. Well, one hell of a model kit. And well, that's all for this review, and see you guys next time.